Jehovah's Witnesses released a new video about the quote-unquote gay lifestyle choice. So how do they feel about the LGBT community? Let's give it a watch and see what they had to say. Let's get into it. Before we get into it, I just want to mention a couple of things. If you've already heard this before, then skip forward about 30 seconds. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, you can support me in a few ways. First, there's Patreon. That's probably the best way. But if you want to get something back for your support, then you can check out my Teespring or my Etsy store. I sell all kinds of cool stuff on there. Mostly it's 3D printed game and controller stands, but I also sell some signs to stave away the Jehovah's Witnesses. And I sell these dumpster fire candle holders. I sell green, blue, and black, and I sell plain-faced ones or 2021s. I have a bunch of other stuff on there, so give it a look. I might have something that catches your eye. Okay, with all that being said, let's take a look at Jehovah's Witnesses' newest video. For context, we're about to listen to Stephen Lett. He's a governing body member famous for talking with a specific type of cadence. You'll see what I mean in a second. Let's give it a listen.
There'll be many others who will come back who will have to abandon their former way of life. I was thinking, as an example, a homosexual. Now, this former homosexual comes back in the resurrection, and he really thought, and he was taught, and he came to believe that God accepted him with that lifestyle. But now he's going to learn about Jehovah's moral standards.
Let me give a little background on their beliefs. They believe that Armageddon will come any 5 minutes now. They've been saying this since 1914, and there have been a couple of times where they set a hard date and changed all their literature to stop saying the end is near and start saying the end is here, like the year 1975. They used to have a saying, stay alive to 75. And when nothing happened, they retroactively went back and changed the literature to seem less like a hard claim and more like an implication. So the belief is that Armageddon will be here any second, and God's going to take out anybody who isn't a baptized, active, door-knocking Jehovah's Witness. If you die in Armageddon, then it's over for you permanently. But after Armageddon, they think there's going to be a resurrection of the righteous and the unrighteous. And the unrighteous will have one more shot at doing the right thing. They're going to be resurrected into perfect bodies. There won't be any more disabilities, mental or physical. And at that point, people obviously won't be able to deny that God's real and Jehovah's Witnesses were right. But if that's the case, then I'm really not sure why God can't just reveal himself to us now. Don't people say that it wouldn't be faith if he revealed himself? It doesn't count if you know he's real, and that's why he doesn't reveal himself? Doesn't the post-Armageddon resurrection kind of nullify that? Anyways, Stephen Lett is saying here that after Armageddon, when people are resurrected, except the ones who died in Armageddon and a few randos like Judas Iscariot or Adam and Eve, they're going to have one more chance to live their lives the right way, quote unquote. And this time they're starting out on a level playing field. They know God exists because he resurrected them, and they have perfect bodies and minds. Now that we have that context, let's listen to the last clip one more time.
Now, this former homosexual comes back in the resurrection, and he really thought, and he was taught, and he came to believe that God accepted him with that lifestyle. But now he's going to learn about Jehovah's moral standards. And he's going to learn that Jehovah will not lower his standard to accommodate us. We have to come up to Jehovah's standard. Will he change? Will he adjust? It'll be up to him. But you, brothers and sisters, will help such ones.
See, this is why I have a real problem with people calling it a lifestyle. It's either a choice or it's the result of a brain state. If it's a choice, then it seems like something straight people would be able to choose if they wanted, right? I can't speak for Stephen Lett or anybody else, but personally, I never chose to be straight. I just am. Science tells us it isn't a choice anyways. It's a brain state. It's an identity. It's who you are, for better or worse. And since we know for a fact that it's a brain state, that means that within Jehovah's Witnesses doctrine, it's considered an imperfection. God fucked up, according to Jehovah's Witnesses. If it's a defect in the human body, then when they're resurrected, that defect would be corrected and it wouldn't be a problem. The root of the problem is the fact that Jehovah's Witnesses are ignoring or outright denying science. But honestly, that's not new information. They've been doing that since the day the religion started. So what are the consequences for choosing to be gay after being resurrected? Let's continue watching.
But now, what if someone refuses to make the necessary changes? Well, the Watchtower commented on that. It said, after being given ample time, maybe even 100 years,
Notice he's not quoting the Bible, he's quoting the Watchtower. They're treating their own propaganda magazines as equally as credible as the Bible. In fact, in a book titled Crisis of Conscience, written by a previous governing body member, Ray Franz, he says one of the concerning things he saw happening was the fact that people were referencing old Jehovah's Witness literature instead of the Bible. They say their doctrine is based on the Bible, but it isn't. It's based on the opinions of 8 old dudes in New York. And they aren't quoting a simple, obvious, cut and dry doctrine. It's very specific. Let's continue.
It said, after being given ample time, maybe even 100 years, to seek God, some will show that they refuse to practice righteousness. Justly, they will lose life in the new world, as we can see from Isaiah 65, verse 12, which says, "And the sinner will be cursed, even though he is 100 years of age."
So they think members of the LGBT community are living the way they live because they choose to. It's just something they want to do. And if they were resurrected into perfect bodies, it wouldn't take that desire away. Fascinating, right? I think it says something about these guys. Anytime somebody tells me they think it's a choice, I start to wonder if maybe they aren't 100% straight. But this isn't the only thing they've said about the LGBT community. They've released multiple videos on the subject. I covered this next one when it came out, but it's been a while. This isn't a new position they're taking. They've held it for a long time. The last clip was just a reaffirmation of their previously stated position. So let's see what they had to say about it before.
Hi.
Would you like to make a donation to the marathon?
No thank you.
The implication behind this scene is that if you don't support the LGBT community, then the world believes you're a monster and they'll hate and persecute you for it. Problem is, they're grossly exaggerating everything. This video is a depiction of a Jehovah's Witness being persecuted for their belief that gay people are wrong and evil. It's just that this doesn't really happen unless a Jehovah's Witness brings it up and tries to start shit over it. But they can't depict that in the clip because it would be painfully obvious who was in the wrong in that case. So they're depicting the Jehovah's Witness being the victim of an unprovoked attack for their beliefs. In reality, nobody would care if she decided not to donate to whatever thing. They have no idea why she's not donating. Maybe she doesn't have the money to put into it. Maybe she volunteers her time or money in other ways. Maybe she doesn't like that specific charity. Anytime I go to a fast food restaurant and they ask if I want to donate $1 to help kids get education or whatever, I say no, because I just so happen to know that Taco Bell keeps a lot of that money. If I want to donate to something, then I'm going to donate directly to the charity. I don't need my money going through multiple sets of hands before it gets to where it's supposed to go. So no, nobody would give a shit if she said she doesn't want to donate to a charity. There are a billion possible reasons. They just needed to set a scene where the people would be persecuted for a really messed up belief, and it wasn't provoked by them directly. Let's continue.
Shall I put it in the bag, or do you want to wear it now?
No thank you.
What's wrong, honey? You got something against them?
Well, no, I don't have anything against him personally.
So what's the problem?
I respect that they have a right to choose their lifestyle, but as a Bible reader,
Excuse me. I'm a Bible reader too. I go to church, and our church is one of the biggest supporters for this marathon. So what are you trying to say?
As if this would ever really happen. They're obviously trying to portray themselves as martyrs, as poor, persecuted people who are unjustifiably attacked for their beliefs. Because persecution boosts a movement. Not only does it instill a sense of honor and loyalty in the people who are already involved, but if it's genuine persecution, then they get sympathy from the outside world too. This is the point of propaganda. This is what makes it so insidious. It's designed to evoke an emotional reaction in people. You see the same thing from evangelicals evangelical pastors who insist on intertwining politics into their religion. They violate ethics and laws to tell their church members to vote for specific political candidates, and when they're rightfully sued for it, they turn themselves into martyrs. Same thing with the coronavirus situation. They're told to hold their meetings online instead of in person. The perfect opportunity to turn themselves into martyrs. Instead of portraying the situation as it actually is, telling them not to gather in person but to do it online instead, they portray it as the government telling them not to meet at all, and to close down their church permanently, or they'll be arrested. It's emotional fuel for their persecution complex. Now, is this woman from the clip going to righteously stand up for herself and bravely prove to the world that she's not afraid of being persecuted for believing that God is going to take out all the gay people in Armageddon for the bad choices they make, or is she gonna stay quiet? Let's continue.
Displaying courage now will help me display courage in the future. Well, I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and we believe the Bible teaches this is for a man and a woman who are married.
Intolerant people.
Wow, so brave. Honestly, they're completely missing the problem. The point is that people can live their lives however they want, and it doesn't affect you at all. It's just if you aren't living your life as a Jehovah's Witness, then you're a scumbag, you're evil. They've done a lot more on this subject too. This isn't even close to all of it. There's one more video I want to take a look at. This is a Caleb and Sophia video. It's been a while since I covered it, but since we're on the subject, let's take another look.
I drew our family in school today. Carrie drew 2 mommies. My teacher says that all that matters is that people love each other and that they're happy.
But what matters is how Jehovah feels. He wants us to be happy, and he knows how we can be happiest. That's why he invented marriage the way he did.
You mean one man and one woman?
Exactly. Jehovah's standards haven't changed. It's kind of like going on an airplane. What would happen if someone wanted to bring something on the plane that wasn't allowed?
They couldn't go on their trip.
Right. It's the same with Jehovah. He wants us to be his friend and live in paradise forever. But we have to follow his standards to get there.
Now, I've obviously shortened the clip down a little bit, but those are the main parts. It's like they have this weird obsession with how other people live their lives. I can't possibly figure out why it matters. Seriously, think about it. Why does it matter? Aside from the fact that Jehovah's Witnesses just don't like it, and aside from the fact that it's none of their fucking business how people live their lives, why do they care anyways? Why would God care? Ultimately, the partners they choose is one of the most irrelevant things about a person, but this choice is enough to declare them sinners, to force their lifelong friends and family to shun them for the rest of their lives, and to tell them God's going to take them out when Armageddon comes if they don't choose the right type of partner. So to the people who say Jehovah's Witnesses are just nice, harmless people, I disagree. They are destroying lives. They're ending friendships. They're splitting up families, and I won't accept it. Anyways, that's all I've got for you. As I said before, if you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, you can support me in a few ways. First, there's Patreon. That's probably the best way. But if you want to get something back for your support, you can check me out on Teespring, or you can check out my Etsy store. I have a store where I sell all kinds of interesting stuff. Mostly it's 3D printed game stands, but I also sell these 2020 dumpster fire candle holders, or just regular dumpster fire candle holders, and I sell these signs. If you want to keep Jehovah's Witnesses or Mormons from knocking on your door, put these out front. Jehovah's Witnesses aren't afraid of anything, except for apostates. And you don't have to be an ex-Jehovah's Witness to be an apostate. The term applies to anybody critical of the religion, so if you want to keep them away, then consider getting one of these signs. All links can be found in the description and the pinned comment, as always. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.